my people of Namlesa, and the message is very clear. You listen to 89 Smart FM, and you have equally made others love 89 Smart FM. Thank you so much for the support that you've given to us, and the support you've accorded to Esther Mirembe, who is vying for Woman Member of Parliament Jinja City, and also the support you have accorded to Honorable Nathan Samson Igeme Nabeta in the race of Jinja South East Member of Parliament. Today, the reference point is going to be non-political, as we choose to talk about a very interesting program that is yet to benefit a number of Ugandans. And guess the program is called Odel, Open Distance and E-Learning. This is something that has been by very many architects in the education sector, and many academians, the academicians have fronted this as the new way that can help us, of course, sail through this COVID-19 and now embrace the new normal that we have talked about over time. So the framework, this is a framework for National Council for Higher Education, and of course it's going to approve a number of institutions to start offering this type of package to the learners. And of course, guess the learners, they're very Ugandans, me and you, or any other person interested in bettering their CVs. And tonight I'll be speaking to the head of department, distance learning, and this is none other than Mr. Evans Maganda Tabingwa. Add Tabingwa because he's also from the royal clan, the ruling clan, and so it's always a pleasure to host the Mulangira on the show. And he's not going to discuss Ebyo Mulangira, though we saw what happened, a very sign of victory, sign of peace, when His Royal Highness Columbus Wambuzi and His Royal Highness Gabula Nadiope had some time off to share as brothers. And you know, this was a very good mark for Busoga. It was actually marking the new beginning of the new Busoga that everyone was. Most welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, Grace. Our dear listeners, I greet you and salute you this evening. I want to thank you for the peace that most of you have gone through during this election time. We had a very tough season yesterday and the other day.
True. And
we want to thank all the people for the maturity they demonstrated through the season. We also want to congratulate those who sailed through successfully, our dear Mama, Honorable Speaker of Parliament, and also those who took courage to participate in the elections, our Honorable Minister Namuganza, and all other parties that participated in the event. Of course, that is maturity for our country, and we want to welcome all the voters and thank them for participating through that activity on our behalf. Otherwise, welcome to the Odel program that we're going to discuss tonight. And I'm happy that for the discussions that I've previously had here with Grace, we have been saying what is going to happen, and I've been telling people that please have hope, because if you lose hope, then we shall have trouble. But I'm happy tonight that there is green light from National Council for Higher Education, and especially for institutions of higher learning, that we have now a framework of teaching, of which different universities have applied. And so far we have 3 institutions of higher learning that have been accredited to start teaching.
Okay.
Yes.
Is Cavendish among the 3?
Yes, of course, that is where I'm the director. And as you know, when I come here to speak, one of the reasons why I'm very proud is that Cavendish looks like the trend. That is where things begin from. To actually mention to you that it was the first university that was accredited in this line. Okay. Because for us, e-learning did not only start because of COVID. We started e-learning in 2017. So we have been in this business for over 3 or so 4 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so interesting. You talked about the elections we had yesterday, the second elections. You talked about congratulating Mama Kadaga and now our Honorable Passes for having participated.
Yes.
And I remember on Wednesday when this was reading her CV, she said she has a master's from Cavendish. Perhaps she was also benefiting from the long distance.
What I would say, you see, the maturity in this case should be in a way that if we had people who are participating and they managed to come out and have, have their rights and participated in the elections, I think we really have to congratulate. So it's not about the one who has gone through. You don't have to become a bad winner or a bad loser.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so for that reason, from where I'm coming from, I certainly need to also congratulate her for taking courage to be able to stand in.
Absolutely.
That I'm one of the ardent supporters of the Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Kadaga, there's no doubt about that. But I also want to congratulate if she was able to use her rights and be able to come and stand in and participate in this election.
So interesting.
Yes.
Now let's talk about Odel. Odel to the starters.
Yeah.
People hearing the word Odel that we are unveiling to some of them.
Correct.
Perhaps the rest, some people, a section of people are used to the word, and some people, it's a new word. Okay. Maybe perhaps you may break it down for us to understand it.
Okay. Odel stands for Open Distance and E-Learning. And this is a framework that has now been developed by National Council for Higher Education. And it has components of rules or guidelines for that matter, which National Council for Higher Education has provided as points of benchmark, which the institutions of higher learning should be able to utilize in this season of COVID, to be able to have continuity of teaching and learning in institutions of higher learning. And of course, the open distance, I think, has been there for quite some time, but there is now that component of e-learning, which mainly involves technology, but it actually also involves, with the distance learning, it actually involves, even if you have hard copy of content, you can be able to get hard copy of materials that you share with students. You have coursework that they can be able to take away, the take-home assignments, but you can also be able to utilize the e-learning, the technology perspective of using either internet or any computer type of resources or networks to be able to share content with students. And that means that either the students are using, they have maybe laptops, or they have smartphones, or they have a desktop at home, and they can literally be able to interact with their lecturers online. And as I've told you, the reason why, for example, Cavendish University has gotten a straight accreditation in this regard, we have been running the technology perspective.
Okay.
So we've been engaging with over 4,500 students online.
Well,
so they haven't lost anything at all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why should Ugandan scholars, or those who want to enroll for different courses at higher level of education, why should they be excited about Odel?
No, the reason, first of all, you remember, I think that one you'll partly get an answer from the previous conversation we had on this station. Because at a particular time I came here, and you remember we were saying, what are we going to do?
Absolutely.
Everything was closed. So, by the way, first I would like to thank the Ministry of Education and National Council for Higher Education for coming steadfast to put something together that will start, bringing hope and making sure that there's continuity. That's a big milestone. And so the point here we are saying is that we now have hope that students can be able to go back and continue with their studies. I remember one particular question you asked last time when I was here was that, I had this hope that I'm going to finish my course here, get a job.
Absolutely.
It means that at that time you were saying, where on earth are we going? And I think the reason why it's important that we're having this conversation today is because now the economy is opening up, different sectors are opening up, and it's very important to our listeners, those who had lost hope, to realize that things are now taking shape. As you know that in the education sector, we have over 15 million children, pupils, and students who are locked in their homes. And therefore, I think this is a big relief to the parents. It's a big relief to our brothers and sisters who are thinking that now we are completely off. You are hearing that the corona, unfortunately, it has gotten into community. So which actually means that we are not going to have this SOP saying, let them be in the universities and people get back to school. But the good news is that as that takes place, we now have hope that this is going to be cascaded into maybe other lower, maybe primary and secondary schools to enable our children to continue with their studies.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. If you say now we get a solution to what has been a challenge. So now after accrediting, what next?
Now, after the accreditation, so what happens, you see National Council being a regulatory body, when they come to accredit, they check whether
You have the
you
capacity.
qualify. Yes, you have the capacity. And of course, it means you have to be able to show them the technology, you have to be able to show them the human resource, you have to be able to show them the processes, you have to be able to look at different things, because, at different components of teaching and learning, and whether whatever system they are proposing, whether you have the ability to match that system, and of course, whether the available resources and strategies an institution has put in place has the capacity to fulfill the learning outcomes, that universities have set out for students to learn. So therefore, after that, they come and make an assessment, but of course, after they keep on making evaluations to find whether universities are able to fulfill what they have promised to do. And of course, that is in terms of quality assurance, also trying to evaluate whether the learning outcomes are coming out the way they're supposed to be, whether the staff have been trained enough to what was promised before. In other places, I don't know, but I would certainly confirm that in our place, because of the technology, these are the things that the members of staff have been using.